Several birds landed on trees, one bird for one tree. But in this case, one of them didn't have a tree of its own. Then they regrouped, with two birds sitting on one tree. After this, one tree was left. How many birds and trees are there? There are 4 birds and 3 trees. Look at these 4 people in a grocery store. Can you figure out who's going to steal a watermelon? It's the man with a soccer ball. It seems as if he's holding something heavy. It must be the watermelon disguised as a soccer ball. You wake up and find yourself in a locked room without windows and only one door. You look around and notice a table. There's a piece of paper, a knife, and several inflated balloons lying on it. You pick up the note. It reads, "To get out of here, you must puncture a balloon with a knife. But if the balloon bursts, you'll stay here forever." What should you do to make a hidden door open in one of the walls? You should deflate one of the balloons. After that, you can easily puncture it with a knife. You're walking along the beach and spot an expensive-looking watch in the sand. There are only 3 other people on the beach. Who does the watch belong to? This guy's watch is in his pocket. The tan line on this girl's wrist doesn't match the shape of the watch. The watch must belong to this elderly lady. You've got a sack filled with coffee beans. You need to use this coffee to completely fill 2 other sacks of the same size. How do you do it? Put one empty sack into the other and fill them with coffee. 3 young men came to a coffee shop to prepare for their final exam. A waiter came up to them and asked, "Does everyone want coffee?" The first guy said, "I don't know." The second man answered, "Nah, I don't know." And the third one answered, "Yes." Can you figure out what the first 2 guys ordered? All young men ordered coffee. Each of them wanted to have this drink, but the first 2 couldn't know if it would be everyone's choice. If the first 2 guys hadn't wanted coffee, they'd have simply said no. So when the third guy heard his friend's replies, he figured out that both of them wanted coffee. And since he was going to get a cup, he said yes. You have to think outside the box to crack this one. 1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters. The word 3 has 5. And the word 5 has 4 letters. But the word 4 has 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4, and the game will end there. Vincent got locked in a room with no windows and only one massive door. There's a panel with several buttons on the left and another one with a hint on it on the right. There's also a clock on the wall above the door. Which button should Vincent press to get out of the trap? The green triangle. The numbers on the panel represent hours. If you connect them on the clock face, you'll get a triangle. Add this number to the same one and multiply the result by 4. Then divide it by 8 and you'll have the very first number again. What number is it? It can be any number. You can try it out to make sure. Look at these women attentively. Which one seems to be suspicious? It's the one on the right. The woman on the left was just adding some ketchup to her dish. See that bottle? But look at the pie the woman on the right is holding. There's a smartphone peeking out of the pie. What's it doing there? It's very suspicious. The police knocked on Michael's door late in the evening. They had a search warrant. They accused the man of stealing a big sum of money from a supermarket. Mike claimed that he hadn't left the house all day, but one of the detectives saw something in his living room, and it led to the man's arrest. What was it? Look at the date on the receipt lying on the table. It's the same as the date on the calendar, which means Michael lied about not leaving his house that day. Look at these guys attentively. Can you tell which one has drawn the graffiti? It's the guy on the left. He has some spray paint on his hoodie. An ant is 2 inches away from its home. With every next step, it covers half the distance to the entrance. How many steps will the insect have to take to reach its destination? The ant will never reach the door because every time it'll travel only half the distance. Now, how about solving some Rebus riddles? This is the first one for you. High, 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 high. That's high five. The next one, noon good. What's this? That's how you greet people. Good afternoon. Okay, now try this one. Way, progress. It's progress underway. Now let's check how attentive you are. Try to figure out what's wrong in the following images. There's no way anyone can wear those blue shoes. They're both left ones. How about this one? This horse looks rather natural among kangaroos, but it doesn't belong there. What's wrong in this picture? Why would a barn have a chimney? I suspect something is missing in this picture. Can you figure out what exactly? The bus doesn't have side mirrors and windshield wipers. Detective Lucas was called to investigate an accident. A car crashed into a store window and smashed the glass. There are 2 suspects. Both of them deny their involvement. Detective Lucas doesn't need much time to figure out who the culprit is. Do you know the answer too? It's the owner of the blue car. The pattern on its tires is the same as in front of the store. Detective Brown was having her morning coffee in a cafe when she heard a car screeching to a halt, then some loud shouting. She ran outside and spotted a man on the ground. His bicycle was lying nearby. There was also a car sitting next to the man. Detective Brown helped the cyclist up. The car driver came up to them. The cyclist exclaimed, "He hit my bike with his car, making me crash." But the driver answered, "I saw him losing control of his bike in the mirror. I left my car to check on him." Detective Brown immediately understood who was lying. Can you figure it out? Strangely, the car doesn't have side mirrors, and all that stuff in the back seat blocks the view of the road, so the driver couldn't have seen anything in his rearview mirror either. He's lying. A man wearing a hat, a bandana covering his face, and dark sunglasses robbed a bank. The police have 3 suspects. Look at them and try to figure out which one is the criminal. Usually, people tie bandanas under their ears, but in this case, the bandana covers the robber's ears. It probably hides something that distinguishes the man from other people. The criminal must be that man with only one ear. When Louisa entered the office, she noticed that her colleague Anna was very upset. It was the beginning of the working day, but someone had already stolen her purse. Only those who worked in the company could get into the office. Louisa questioned her colleagues. Maria, who worked in IT, said she'd been fixing somebody's computer. Jane, the secretary, answered she'd been on the phone with some clients. Andrew, a sales manager, said,
"I've just returned from a 3-hour-long meeting. I'm exhausted."
"Can you figure out who took the purse?" Andrew, the working day's just started. How could he come back from such a long meeting? Look at the photo. It seems like Adrian is in danger, and he can't even see what's about to happen. But lucky him, he survived, and just 2 minutes later, he was eating cotton candy. How is it possible? Adrian is at a zoological museum. Look closely. The tiger is behind thick glass, and it's not even moving at all. It's just a statue, so it was completely safe for Adrian to stand there. The police were chasing a criminal who had just robbed a little store in a city suburb. They'd been chasing his car for a while, but then the vehicle took an unexpected turn and won some time. The police followed it and a minute later arrived at a gas station. But there were 2 identical cars there. Which one of them is the criminal's car? It's this one. Look, the gas tank is on the opposite side, so the car is here not to get filled up, but to blend in. Max, a cute dog, was staying in a dog hotel while his family was on vacation in Greece. 2 weeks later, 3 men came to pick him up, all claiming to be his owner. Who do you think the real owner is? It must be this man. Look, he has Max's name tattooed on his arm. Look at this picture of people in a movie theater. Most of them are couples, but 2 visitors are twins, a brother and a sister. Can you tell which couple it is? It must be these 2. Look, they have similar white strands in their hair. It'd be too much of a coincidence for a couple. Mr. York was pushed out of a plane by his business competitor while no one was looking. Mr. York got some injuries but survived. How is it possible? Think outside the box to get it right. When it happened, the plane was still on the runway. Okay, let's have a little break now. I'll be showing you an emoji, and your task is to find the one that doesn't belong to the group. Ready? Here's the first one. What do you say? I'd say that this one doesn't belong here. All the others are blue. Okay, here's another set for you. Will you manage to find the one that doesn't belong here? All of them except for this one are sports equipment. Any ideas here? Yes, they're all summer related, but this one doesn't really fit in. And the last set for you. Will you manage to find the odd one? These are all real everyday objects, but this one is magical, so it's the odd one out. Belle and Chloe are twins. One year, Belle had her birthday on Friday.
Oh, yes.
Chloe celebrated her birthday 2 days later on Sunday. The guests who came to both parties didn't believe that twins could have birthdays 2 days apart, but the girls showed their IDs and explained everything. So, how is it possible? The twins were born at night. Belle was born right before midnight on February 28th, and Chloe was born right after midnight on March 1st. This year was a leap year, and February 29th came in between these dates. Inoni lives on a farm where she has horses, rabbits, and chickens. Here's what she says about her horses.
All of my horses except for 2 are black. Also, all of them except for 2 are brown. And all of them except for 2 are white.
How many horses does Inoni have, and what color are they? She has just 3 horses, 1 black, 1 brown, and 1 white. There was a diversity week at school, and one of the students was robbed. Detective Callum interrogated 3 main suspects. Eliza said she'd been working in the cafeteria the whole time. Asher pointed at one of the flags and said he'd been fixing it since it had been hanging upside down. Naya said that the student who had been robbed was her best friend, so she never would have done that. Who's guilty? Asher. The flag that was supposed to be hanging upside down is actually symmetrical. On a rainy day in the summer, a house in a small neighborhood was robbed while the owners were away. The police came to interrogate 4 neighbors. Everyone said that it had been raining. They'd been at home all day, eating and watching movies. Take a look at the houses. Who is lying? Reed is lying. Look, the ground under his car is wet, which means he arrived after it had started raining. So, he did leave his house. Miss Virginia Dell was a rich gentleman's daughter. She was staying at her hotel room when a security guard called her. He told her to run away since the criminal was going up to her room. Miss Dell ran to the elevators, but in each of them, there was a man. Which elevator is safe for her to use? The criminal obviously came from the first floor, and since this man is going down, it must be safe to go with him.
Really?
Dakota woke up in a dungeon. She couldn't remember what had happened. After wandering around for a while, she found out it was a vampire's castle guarded by the creature himself. Also, she found 3 chests. One of them was full of gold coins. Another was filled with silver coins. And the third chest was full of diamonds. Dakota could take any chest with her, but she wouldn't be able to get past the vampire anyways. What should the girl do? Dakota should take the chest with silver coins. Vampires are afraid of silver, so she'll be able to walk past him. Amelia is participating in a game show, and here is her last task. If she completes it, she'll win. She has cubes with these numbers. She should use 3 of them so that the sum total is equal to 30. Which ones should Amelia use? She should turn the cube with 9 over to get 6, and then use it along with 11 and 13. Sienna must leave the house in exactly 9 minutes. The power is off and her cell phone battery is flat. Sienna has 2 hourglasses. One measures 7 minutes and the other measures 4 minutes. How can she use them to measure exactly 9 minutes? Sienna should start both hourglasses at the same time. When the 4-minute hourglass runs out, she should start it again. 4 minutes will pass. When the 7 minutes hourglass runs out a bit later, She should start it again. It'll be 7 minutes. The 4-minute hourglass will run for 1 more minute together with the 7-minute one. When it runs out of sand, it'll be 8 minutes. Sienna should then flip over the 7-minute hourglass. It'll have sand in its top part for exactly 1 minute. Now, I'll be showing you some images, and your task is to find out what's wrong with them. Ready? Here's the first one. What do you think? This car has no steering wheel. Easy. What about this picture? Can you notice anything odd about it? The reflection in the mirror is different from reality. What about this picture? What's really off here? These people are playing soccer, but they're playing it with a basketball. What about this picture? Do you see any mistakes here? People are in open space, but they're not wearing spacesuits. They wouldn't be able to breathe without them. Some people went on a hot air balloon trip. Can you see what's wrong here? This is definitely not a hot air balloon. Take a very close look at this picture and try to find a mistake. Can you see it? Look, the door hinges are on the wrong side of the door. Look, it's very pretty, but something is off. Can you figure out what? Pay attention to the rainbow. The color arrangement is incorrect. What about this winter paradise? Do you see anything that doesn't belong here? The butterflies. There's no butterflies in the winter. Next one, this cool space picture. Do you see what's wrong with it? The astronauts are wearing spacesuits and they're on the surface of the moon. But look, there's another moon in the sky. It's not possible, and they should observe Earth instead. Can you notice any inconsistencies here? The label on the carton says that it's almond milk, but then why is a cow pictured on it too?